Hello, you guys. This is my very first video ever that I've made. I'm really not on YouTube a lot to like upload videos and things, but I felt like I wanted to do this because this situation has made me very sad, and hearing this story and the reactions that are coming from this situation in particular. The situation with Carlisha Hood and her son in Chicago. I really wanted to speak about it because with so many comments made that were horrible, there was so many people saying so much crazy stuff, so much bad stuff about this lady, her child, just everything. Like it's really been horrendous to see and experience all of this, just seeing how she was beaten on as if she was a man on the streets. Now, I do, however, I feel very sad that that man has passed away because he's dead and he's not coming back ever again. We only get one life, and life is so precious. And my heart goes out to his family because I know that they are grieving. That was still a family member. So it's devastating for them that this has happened and this was caused in this situation. But the thing that gets me about this whole thing is how people flip the narrative and did their hardest to vilify the mother and the son as if her son was just some rowdy young 14-year-old little thug running the streets and roaming the streets and selling drugs and all type of stuff. And how his mom, they allegedly said that she was the one that texted her son and told him to finish him off and kill him, which was not true. And that's why she's going to be suing not only the police, department that locked her and her child up. And that was unfair as well because they just locked them up with malicious intent, in my opinion. Because I don't even think these people bothered to see if something really happened or not, I think that they just thought that this was just another day in the neighborhood and he was shot and killed for absolutely no reason. And I'm pretty sure once they saw the outrage and all the videos being loaded of this man fighting her and viciously hitting her in her face like she was some man on the streets, they had to reevaluate what they were doing and let her and her child go. And the case against them was dismissed and the charges was dropped. Now, how I feel about it is this. If you are a man and you decide to put your hands on a woman, to hurt a woman, to do anything to a woman without being provoked, that sir makes you a punk, and it also makes you a coward. I was told growing up, don't you ever hit a dude because they have every right to hit you back. Don't you ever do anything to provoke a man to want to fight you or bring physical harm to you, or its consequences for that behavior. But Miss Carlisha Hood, she didn't hit that man. She didn't look aggressive or combative. And to see the way that this grown man was hitting this woman, it was disgusting to me. And it was horrific to see. I don't think in my life I've ever seen a guy hit on a woman the way that he was hitting her. And he was hitting her hard. Like you would have thought that he was fighting another man or something. Like seeing that definitely messed up my mind. And I feel bad for the 14-year-old boy who was put into that predicament to feel like he had to kill someone just to protect his mother. Nobody else in that restaurant wanted to help her. Everybody else ran out. Nobody decided to, try to intervene or try to speak to him and say, hey, you might want to stop doing that. You can go to jail. The police can be called. Like, everybody left that woman in there to get plummeted. Like, he was hitting her like her body was a punching bag. Like, and no one had a decent heart or a soul or a spirit and felt like they needed to intervene some way. Even if you are afraid, immediately, like, get out of his sight and call the police and pray that they come quick. But the 14-year-old boy is who I'm the most concerned about, just because he had to see something like that and he felt like he needed to protect his mom like that. I know I love my mother, and a lot of people with great moms and close relationship with their moms, they love their moms too. That's just a regular thing for any child to do. 9 times out of 10, you love your mom, unless, your mom just wasn't a good mom. And the way that people were upset that her child defended her in that manner, it makes me wonder, do you hate your mom or something? Or, what's the problem with this child feeling like he had to defend and protect her that way? And I know that child, he has to be traumatized. He's going to need some help after doing what he did, because he took a life and he's only 14. And it said that he felt that he had to resort to shooting this man in order to get him up off his mom. And I'm trying to figure out why are people, specifically in the Black community, shunning this child for doing what a lot of other children probably would have done, whether they was 14, 18, 20, 40. It doesn't matter. Some other children out there who has a mother that they love probably would have done the same thing. And it breaks my heart that little boy is an A honor roll student, and they painted this picture of him as if he was some type of thug or something, just running the streets and selling drugs and doing a lot of stuff that kids do in Chicago, unfortunately. It's a lot of little boys out there who are dying at a very, very young age. They're selling drugs and doing drugs and shooting and killing each other at a very young age. And I'm like, that's really sad and unfortunate that this is the way that they're living. So when you see a child such as, Carlisha Hood's son, who's an A honor roll student, seems to be going about the right way of his life, not being on the streets, how could people assume that child was anything but? Jordan Lee Brown, yes, he was. He was throwing punches like she was a guy. And for her son being so young and having this picture painted of him, I'm proud when I hear young Black boys, young Black men doing great things in our community. I don't like the statistics and the lies they say about a lot of the men and boys in our community, because there's a lot of Black men and boys who are doing great things, but they don't televise that. They don't put that on the media. And we clearly can see it with this case as well, because before they even mentioned him being an honor roll student, he was painted as a thug. He was painted as, a kid who's just out here doing all the wrong things, and him and his mama is just both some hood boogers. It was just horrible. And like I said, a lot of us, I feel like we would have done the same thing. If it was my mom, I'm a mace carrier, so if it was me in that predicament, I definitely would have got out some mace, and I would have harmed him too, because you are hitting her crazy. Like, I've seen, I've been to parties at the club or at the bar, and sometimes guys, they get a little too drunk and they end up getting into it outside of the club. Like, he was hitting her the same way some of these guys will fight each other after a drunk night out, in the town. Like, this is how he was fighting her. Yeah, I've seen men street fight like that. And I'm like, that is not a man. He was hitting her like she was a nigga on the streets. Like, that was insane to see. And the way that he was hitting her, that can cause her brain damage. He could have beat her to death. It's situations where people have gotten beat to death. You hit them in their head or in the wrong way, you know, they can end up dying. They have internal bleeding in their brain from being hit the way that he was hitting her. And I'm just, you know, I feel bad for that child. He didn't feel like he had a choice. Like, that was the position and predicament that he was put in. And, you know, like I said, my heart goes out to that 32-year-old family, because he had people that loved him as well and people that cared about him too. But, you know, they should have been teaching him better, teaching him to work with his anger, because that man was angry for no reason. Like, she didn't look like she was doing anything aggressive or saying anything too crazy, you know, to him, for him to react that way. You know, as I said before, the rules for me as a female growing up, we don't ever hit a man. You know, don't provoke no man. You know, I've seen women hit guys before and they hit them first. You know, these women will hit these guys first and feel like, you know, he has no right to defend himself. You know, me personally, I'm not about to put myself in a predicament to hit any guy, because he can hit me too. So I just stay away from stuff like that and conflict like that. But this woman did absolutely nothing to him for him to react that way. And the news reporters completely lied how the story was told first. Then you watch the video. Yep. Like, I'm praying that she sues them for defamation of character. They definitely pushed that lie. They wanted her and her son to go to jail. I don't think they even cared or bothered to look at that video. But something is telling me that they saw that video and they watched it and they just didn't care. Like, they just let it happen and they just wanted to make an arrest and make some money, you know, because that's how they make their money, arresting people and locking people up. And the greater the charge, the greater the money. So that police department didn't care. The media didn't care. She needs to definitely sue the media for all the lies they have shared. I'm praying that she sues some of these bloggers too, who have pushed these certain narratives about her. And I hope she figures out who was the person that doxed her address. These people has this lady address and her phone number. And I'm like, my God, this is insane. You know, she can't go back home. She can't go back to Chicago with her child. They both have to leave, and they're gonna have to relocate, because people are taking it that far to the point they are releasing this lady's address and her phone number. And he definitely should have controlled his anger. My grandma always would tell me that anger rests in the bosom of a fool. So when you can't control your emotions and calm yourself down, it can be consequences for those outbursts. You know, you can be upset with people and you can be mad, but it's always somebody out there that can be more mad or more afraid than you are, and they can do something to you. He came in there with the expectation of getting his food and leaving, but he left and went with God instead. And that's sad that you was going to get a meal and you walked out of there. You didn't even walk out of there. You just died there. You know, that's just sad. Like, he definitely should have controlled his anger. I don't know what she could have possibly said to that man to ever make him get that upset and that angry and behave in that manner. And all of the stuff that people were saying about her and her child, it makes it even more sad. You know, Carlisha Hood is a business owner. From what I know, she has businesses. She has other children as well. She's a very well-spoken lady. I see her on the news today, speaking out about what's going on with her. And she's very well-spoken. She doesn't seem like she's uneducated. And, you know, you can tell different types of Black people and where they from by the way they speak and how they was raised. You know, she seemed like she was raised with a strong head on her shoulders. And as I said before, she has she's very well spoken for herself. But this situation is really sad, and it makes me sad for that child. I'm praying that little boy gets some therapy and get some help, because I couldn't imagine being 14 years old and seeing someone doing that to my mom. You know, I couldn't imagine the fear that baby had, you know. And I just wish people would protect these children from being in certain circumstances like that. No child, 14, 12, 11, whatever, should ever be put in a predicament to have to see their mom get beat on like that. And the fact that it is other grown men saying that she deserved what she got. It's other grown men saying that, oh, well, she shouldn't have been talking. And they feel sorry for him. And me personally, I feel like this. If you are a victimizer, you have no right to become the victim afterwards. You know what I'm saying? You can't victimize somebody. You can't beat on somebody, then die, and then feel like everybody's supposed to feel sorry for you. So to me, that this whole thing, that was just insane. And I wish that it was a black man there that wouldn't have been afraid of him, because I mean, it's some black men that would have stopped that, like jumped in and been like, oh, nah, that's what you're not about to do. Like, he was going crazy, and it is wild that he was doing that. Like, he flipped the script. I have not ever seen somebody get that mad for no reason. Like, it wasn't necessary or needed. Like, he was beating her like a dude on the streets, you know? And this should be a lesson to other men. Control your anger. Be a lesson to just people in general. Just forget men, but people in general. And people need to cool off and calm down and take their time, and they need to think before they do, because you never know if you're going to end up dead because you chose to be angry. So that's what I have to say. I'm still praying for her son. I'm glad the charges was dropped and dismissed. I'm praying that this is a learning lesson for many all across the world. In my eyes and a lot of other people's eyes, her son is a hero. And I guarantee you, if this was a white child that did the same thing, everybody been like, he did what he was supposed to do. But they chose to vilify him instead. And that don't sit right with me, and I do not like that. So, you know, if people are watching, thank you for watching. I'm planning on doing more videos in the future. I don't mind suggestions of topics people want to speak about, or any of that, whatever you want to speak about. I definitely have no problem going live and talking about it and just having a great conversation and just talk about what's going on in this world. So God bless, and thank you for watching my video, and I definitely will be back with more content.